everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this week I've been daily driving this 2025 Mercedes-AMG G63. We're back in another G-Wagon for tonight's video, and this is unlike the one we were driving earlier this year, of course, because this is the full G63 AMG, the top trim, not the G550, that is now just a puny 6-cylinder. This G63 still has the proper M177 Biturbo V8 in the 25 G63, producing 577 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. Backing that, the 9-speed speed shift automatic transmission, and of course, this is 4MATIC all-wheel drive. And well, here's the thing. I drove the G550 earlier this year. I liked it. It was winter, you know, things were a bit dreary, but I still had a positive attitude. It's still a G-Wagon. The doors still sounded cool and things, but there's something about having that rumbly, raspy V8 under the bonnet of the G-Wagon that really completes the package. And I think that if you're going to go for a G-Wagon in 2025, you may as well pony up the, at least, $186,000 to get yourself into an entry-level G63. This one is $211 as spec, which I know may sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's kind of a modest spec for a G-Wagon. I mean, this is finished in Twilight blue, which is a gorgeous color, but it's a no-cost option. This is not even a manufacturer color that you have to pay extra for. Whoever spec'd this out, they were watching their budget for sure, and we'll put the whole spec down in the description for you guys. But I really do like the way that this one is trimmed out. We have the MANUFAKTUR dark chrome package on this, pretty self-explanatory. Our little bash bar in the front, bash bar is probably not the right word for that. What do you call that, brush guard? That's finished in dark chrome. We've got dark chrome badges and things, and then we have the 22-inch monoblock wheels. They still call these monoblocks? In my mind, any kind of chunky 5-spoke wheel is always going to be a monoblock if it's on a Mercedes. This is a 295 40R22 squared setup on a Goodyear Eagle F1. This is a pretty sporty tire, and honestly, this is the best handling G-Wagon I've driven. This does have the optional performance pack, which gives us the active roll stabilization, which Mercedes is kind of known for, and they do a really great job at integrating that. Standard, this does still come with adaptive dampers, but they're elevated a bit with this optional performance pack. We also get red brake calipers that are very hard to see behind these big chunky wheels, and the top speed is raised on the performance pack cars from 137 to 149. I mean, come on, in a big rolling brick, that's pretty impressive. This thing weighs 5,800 pounds. It can tow about 7,000 pounds. It's a pretty functional thing to use, and I'm excited to take you guys all on a bit of a day in the life here with the G-Wagon in tonight's video. The sun is coming down. It's not quite golden hour yet, but I'm actually headed to get some dinner supplies, and oh, it's already 6 p.m., so I guess we're having a bit of a late dinner tonight, but I have to put some fuel in this because, surprise, surprise, I've drained the tank over the last, what I've done, I've put like 150 miles on this or something, but I've been having a good time, and we're going to make some noise tonight with our side pipes. I mean, I think anything in the year 2025 that still comes with side pipes is a good car, and well, the G-Wagon is a good car for many other reasons, but come on, who doesn't love a good pair of side pipes? So let's give you a bit of a tour of this G63 AMG, and then we'll take it out on the road, and we'll show you guys what it's like to drive. I meant to clean this windshield, but this is proof that I've been daily driving this. Sometimes it's okay for the cars not to be like perfectly sparkly clean, and you guys can see what they look like after being driven for a bit. We also get this little dark chrome ring around our spare in the back. That's part of that dark chrome package, as well as our AMG badge, our G63 badge. In the back, got this little privacy shade that goes away, and honestly, the most ideal load surface, I think, of most things. I mean, as someone that's 5'11", very easy to lift things in and out, and you just have tons of room because, of course, the G-Wagon is very tall. It's not very long, it's not very wide, but it is very tall, and of course that contributes to its unique handling characteristics, and we'll show you that once we go on the performance section. But you guys, here's the thing, you guys pretty much know the G-Wagon by now. because it's been around for 6,000 years, and they say it's been facelifted for 2025, but I can't really tell. I guess the front bumper and things are a bit more aerodynamic, and they've added a front spoiler, which I'll show you now. I'm going to climb up on here. I really just wanted to operate the door handle because it's my favorite thing in the entire world. This is new for 25. They've added this for some extra aero. And there's little places to mount a roof rack. That isn't new, but kind of cool to show that. Oh, G-Wagon doors are just the best. I get in and out of this all the time just because I like to listen to the doors. Okay, let's show you this M177. And then we'll jump in the back seat, and then we'll get out of here. Where is the hood latch? There it is. Love it. Love it so much. You can see our AMG Roundel. And there is the M177. You can see hot V, those twin turbos right on top, or sorry, bi-turbos. And this was assembled by Patrick Kohler. Very nice work, Patrick. I've been enjoying your craftsmanship very much over the past few days. Mercedes actually does a really good job with these engine bay presentations. Still showing some things, like you can see our turbos there, and even the engine cover is quite attractive. Lots of deceased insects on the front, and I'm actually a bit delirious because of an insect, because there was a tick in my bed last night, and it was crawling on my leg at about 2 a.m., and I didn't sleep too great after that. So I suppose you guys didn't really need to know that, but if I'm a bit off in this video, that's why. Okay, let's jump in the back and show you what we have going on here. I mean, pretty standard G-Wagon stuff. What I love about this one, though, is it doesn't have the stupid rear entertainment package like that G550 had, which means you can actually get into the back seat, and you have pretty good room back here, even though the rear windows don't go all the way down and you can't really comfortably hang your arm out the window like you can in the front. You're comfortable in other ways. Fold down armrest with some cup holders. You've got your own climate control panel back here, a couple of USB-C ports. You've got a little cigarette lighter style charger, 2 seat back pockets. And as far as actually sitting back here at 5'11", sat behind myself, plenty of room. Obviously in the headroom department, even with a camera on my face, I've still got that much headroom to spare. So lots of room back here. Heated seats. We have a Burmester sound system, of course. We'll test that out eventually at some point in the video, probably once we get downtown. And jokes aside of me saying I couldn't tell that this had been facelifted in the front, we do actually have some changes to the interior. This big continuous screen, the new steering wheel. Mercedes has kind of brought this up to the modern generation, the new corporate interior, and I think in the G-Wagon, they've integrated it pretty well. So let's go ahead and jump up there. I'm going to put this headrest back down into its lower position so I can see out of the back somewhat. The only thing I don't super love ergonomically about these G-Wagons are where they put the interior door handles. They're just a little bit awkward to grab on your way out, but the entrance into the car makes up for all of that, and I forget about it. So let's jump into this thing and fire it up. You can hear the rumble from that M177. We're going to turn that music down as much as I would like to listen to Lord Huron's new album with you all that came out on the day that this is being filmed. We unfortunately can't due to copyright reasons. But let's show you what the front of this G-Wagon looks like. I'm going to put the windows up. Obviously, these are all auto up-down. Close our moonroof. It is quite quiet in here. Obviously, there is quite a bit of sound deadening in here. That adds to our 5,800-pound curb weight. Let's move the steering wheel up a bit. This is, of course, power operated, as it should be on a $200,000+ car. Even though this has all of this new Mercedes stuff here on the interior, there are still a lot of physical buttons. So we have a full physical climate panel. We still have the little touchpad to control the infotainment screen. We have physical buttons for our diff locks, our manual mode, our low-range gearbox. Of course, this has lots of off-road tech that 90% of G-Wagon owners probably will never use, but for the 10% that do, there you go. Very easy to find. We have a 2-speed transfer case in here. these vehicles are actually very capable off-road. I've never driven one off-road, but I know they can do some pretty wild stuff. So that is always nice. Of course, the G-Wagon heritage does come from the military. These were military vehicles before they were an status symbol like they are today. But what I love the most about the interior in this particular G63 is that it does have the MANUFAKTUR interior package. So we have this open pore wood in here. That's an optional extra. We have this titanium gray pearl, which the pearl being in the name doesn't make too much sense to me, but it's just these very subtle gray inserts on our black seats. We've got a gray lower portion of the dashboard. We have our grab handles in leather. These are all MANUFAKTUR options that add up to be about 10 grand. So I would probably go for a more exciting color than this, but I think the subtle nature of this spec, this complements it pretty well. And I just love all of the choices that Mercedes gives you here with these very sort of bespoke interiors. Split folding armrest. This little cubby opens and closes to hide away your phone, and if you don't have any drinks in your cooled or heated cup holders. Love to see that. There's also 2 more USB-C ports in there. Physical headlight switch, physical dimmer switch for your screens. I mean, lots of good stuff in here that makes this user-friendly. Mercedes hasn't gone over the top for 2025 to make this unusable, and they haven't Tesla-fied it. You can't really see out the back because there is just a massive spare wheel, but it does look cool, so I suppose we'll forgive them for not having a camera rearview mirror. I don't know, man, a camera rearview mirror might just feel a little bit weird in a G-Wagon. I'm not sure that that would fit the vibe. Into reverse. 360 cam, really high quality backup camera. Both cameras are very high quality, of course, as this does have to be able to aid you in off-road situations. Very crispy front camera as well. That comes on as soon as you put your G-Wagon into drive. Love when those automatic locks engage. Sounds like somebody's loading a gun. Quite a few turkeys over there today. Check it out. 4 of them. So interesting. Okay. Try not to get distracted. Challenge impossible. So, here's what I love about G-Wagons is, obviously, you guys see many celebrities drive these, and this isn't to say that celebrities don't know how to drive, but a lot of celebrities, I mean, they just want to look cool. And this will do that very well, and it does it while being very easy to drive. We saw this in the G550. I was maneuvering it all over the place, parking it, and the dimensions of this car do help, but it's also not... Are you turning? Saw the car's life flash before my eyes there. But it also helps that we have pretty light steering in this car. It's easy to see out of. All of your inputs are very natural. Throttle tuning is very progressive. Brakes feel great. And if you're not pushing this thing to like 9 or 10 tenths, you're really not going to notice any weird handling characteristics on this car. But obviously we're gonna go and push it 9 tenths and show you what those weird characteristics look like because, well, that's my job. Front end gets a little bit light upon acceleration, especially when you have the suspension in comfort mode. Lots of different drive modes on this. But to finish my point, this is a very easy vehicle to drive if you're just driving it normal. And it just grumbles around. It's very grunty. Let's hear these side pipes. Fuel cutoff does happen a bit before the indicated, what is that, 6750 red line, so you have to be on it with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. It's so quick. I mean, for a nearly 3-ton SUV, It's shaped like a brick. This thing will boogie. It is, I'm going to call it fast. This is a fast vehicle. We'll come around here again at a bit of a higher speed. This is the speed where you'd be comfortable in this. It does handle well, but it handles well for a G-Wagon. Side pipes. The front end points to the sky when you accelerate. Okay, we're gonna go into Sport Plus mode, and I'm gonna click this physical button on the dash to put myself into manual. You can also do that on the screen if you so desire, or you can do it down here. With the dampers in Sport, they have to do a lot of work with this big top-heavy machine. You can see it kind of bouncing out of that corner, but for the most part, I mean, they've got this thing, I think, as dialed in as they can get it for the platform. It's just, it's unbelievable, this car. Let's do a race start. Why not? Because this apparently can do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, which I believe, because it scoots off the line with urgency. All right, let's get this thing off the line. Just in time for the low fuel light to come on. How appropriate. Okay. Good thing we are actually, our next stop is the fuel station, so we're going to go and do that right now. In the meantime, let's put this back into comfort for a second. The way that the torque twists this thing off the line is unbelievable. I don't know how well that translates on camera, but you do feel like you're doing a wheelie with the left front and the right rear is scraping on the ground. I mean, it does feel that drastic in person. This thing is hilarious. And that's another thing I love about this, is that, does this platform need 627 pound-feet of torque? No, it does not. But is it so fun because of it? Yes. And I love SUVs that are just honest SUVs. I mean, I just had the Cadillac Escalade V a couple of weeks ago, and I loved that so much because it handled terribly. The suspension travel was wild. It felt like it was wheeling and things. And I think if you're going to make a performance SUV that's a proper SUV, don't make it go faster on the Nürburgring. Make it go fast from one red light to another. Or, well, one green light to another. Don't run red lights, but one set of lights to another. That's all I really care about. Otherwise, I kind of just want to be cozy. Just so butter smooth when you're not in a hurry, even when you are in a little bit of a hurry. This 9-speed is so impressively tuned. It fires off gears when you're in sport, but in comfort you can't even feel it shifting. Fun's over. Let's get this G63 out onto the highway. And observe a bit more of what it's like to live with. Now, with these adaptive dampers calmed down into comfort, even on these 22-inch wheels, granted, they do have a little bit of a sidewall, so things are soaked up, but the suspension does such a great job just on its own, soaking up all of these bumps. And with this being a vehicle that wears the AMG badge, there's always a little bit of a worry that, are they going to make it too stiff? But with these G-Class SUVs, they do prioritize the G-Classness over the AMG-ness, and I do appreciate that. This does still feel like an AMG, don't worry, but G-Wagon takes the lead before AMG. It's close, but that's the way that it is, at least in my mind. I love the uniqueness of the exhaust note on this, because this M177 4-liter is in like every 63 badged AMG these days, apart from the E-Performance cars like the C63 that now has a 4-cylinder, but I think they're bringing back the V8 into... Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. This is in a lot of cars, but it doesn't sound like this in anything but the G63. This is the only setting where you have this burbly, raspy, very low-pitched tone from this 4-liter V8. I mean, I was just in the GLE 63S, and it didn't sound like this. You also hear those turbos spooling. Such a proper thing. There is quite a bit of wind noise, as you can hear right now, and I don't know if their little addition of a roof spoiler on the front has done anything to aid that, because it's been so long since I've driven an older G-Wagon. I don't really remember how noisy those were inside, but I think for what it is, for what this has to work with ergonomically, there's no way you could expect this to be any quieter. Like, I can still have a normal conversation in this. I don't have to raise my voice. And when you turn on the Burmester, it's gone completely. As far as road manners go, this is a wide tire, this 295 on a Goodyear Eagle F1, so it tramlines a little bit. You definitely have to make sure you're keeping an eye on this steering and keeping it steered straight. And this always sounds so weird to like non-car people, and if you're watching this, you're probably a car person, but all of these little things that make this car worse make it a little bit better, because it adds to the charm. And listen to that. And that's one thing that a lot of vehicles lack in the 2025 model year on the current market, is none of them really have soul. There's a handful of them that do, but most of them are sports cars or hot hatches. I mean, how many SUVs are there that give you the fizz? There are only a handful. You can probably count them all on one hand. This is one of them, and that's so special that all these years later, they've been able to keep this formula alive and thriving. I mean, I see G-Wagons quite a bit even here in Michigan, but you go somewhere like LA, you see these things all over the place. Ergonomics in here, I love, and it's because it kind of gives you that old school truck feel. The door panels are nice and low down. Oop, I've bumped something with the haptic touch buttons. That is, I think, my least favorite control in this entire cabin, are these steering wheel buttons. But ergonomically, I love this because you can sit in it like an old truck, like an old Land Cruiser or something, like an old G-Wagon. It's still dimensionally the same. So I can rest my elbow on the top of the door panel. I can have my other arm rested here on the console, which if I did want to rest my elbows and have them on the steering wheel like so, it does have pretty soft surfaces, so you're very plush. We do have cruise control in here. Easy to operate, just 2 clicks on the steering wheel. And we have steering assist as well. It does the trick. It does a pretty good job, actually. I don't love trusting it just because of the nature of this car and kind of having to keep it straight, but it actually compensates pretty. I was going to say it compensates very well, and then it tried crashing into that Town and Country, so we're not gonna use the steering assist anymore. This is adaptive cruise as well, and you can adjust your distance on the steering wheel. So all of the stuff you need to adjust is very easy to access. What I don't like is when you want to go through your different cluster screens on this, which this does have many of them, and since this has the Performance Pack, we have track pace, which is cool to see in a G-Wagon. Always love that. But sometimes swiping through these, and I'm having good success right now, sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because the car doesn't understand the input that you've given it. Sometimes you'll scroll up and it'll think that you're scrolling down, and it's just, I don't know. These are haptic controls that do, I think, still need to be updated and just kind of dial in a little bit better. I love the classic gauge cluster style here. I love what Mercedes does with the simplicity, but at the same time, giving us all of these choices to make this look however you want. I think these days, if you're gonna implement a digital gauge cluster, you better make it worth it, because we all know it's just cost cutting, so at least make it pretty and give me lots of choices. And Mercedes always does, no matter which vehicle you get. So that is always nice. Visibility out of this, we touched on it a bit earlier, but it's nice in every aspect except seeing out of the back. And this is a bit dramatic, I suppose to say, but you guys can see just kind of the upper third of that spare tire. And then the rear window itself is a little bit small, so you can't really see that great. Is it me that's kicking up rocks, or was it that 4Runner that drove by? I'm not too sure. But I've got the seat in its lowest possible setting. I can see all the way to the front of this hood. I feel like I could see pedestrians just fine out of this. And as far as blind spots go, there really aren't many. This is a pretty nice open greenhouse, and I love the ergonomics in this. And I think it's why so many people of all sizes drive G-Wagons, because you could be very short and you could see out of this just fine. All right, back into my very special individual mode here, which is just everything in comfort with drivetrain and sport. What I love so much about these side pipes is you can bounce them off of things like curbs and guardrails. Or not bounce the actual pipes, but bounce the noise. Oh, yes, that was good. There's like no real sense of urgency here. Oh, but there is lots of fizz. In traffic, I failed to mention earlier actually that this has a 48 volt mild hybrid system, so auto stop starts are seamless. We are gonna run to this Shell station. Forgive me, I do have to go to the outside lane here because I'm turning into the gas station. Obviously, ground clearance is an absolute breeze. Don't even have to think about it. This will automatically apply the parking brake once you flip the ignition off.
Just a minute, you've forgotten your phone.
And then she comes on to let you know if your phone is still on the wireless charger. Ooh, look at this fuel cap. I haven't done this yet. Oh, that is a high quality item. Any bets on what this is going to cost me today? I'm going to say 80 bucks. This is great. This is one of those older Shell pumps that doesn't have Maria Menounos in it yet. It doesn't have tap to pay, but you know, trade-offs. There it is, $100. How big is your tank? Ah, there it is. I was gonna check and make sure it all wasn't just pouring out the bottom. $116.23. This is the most I've ever spent on filling up a car, I think, in my entire life. And you've all just witnessed it on camera. Oh, that's upside down. Can't have that. There we go. Proper. Kind of wish there was a handle here, just because it's kind of tall. Going in the secret back way because I didn't want to cross like 6 lanes of traffic. But we have the clearance. I usually avoid this because It's a pretty steep driveway. But the G-Wagon doesn't care about that. You see, that's why this is such a convenient daily driver, is you can just run anything over, and for one, you're probably not going to notice, and neither is the car. All right, let's get this backed into our favorite spot and show you what this looks like. Oh yeah. I am gonna hug that side a bit. Well, I guess we're pretty much in the middle. All right, let's get these windows up. Sunroof I'd never opened, so that's gonna stay shut. Let's see.
Just a minute. You've forgotten.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much. And this is the thing, is G-Wagons are not obnoxious sizes. I mean, they're tall, yes, but they're not super wide, they're not super long. So they fit in parking spots just like any normal car. And as far as your doors opening and things, give me another excuse to open this door, sure. I mean, you can see here, you've got plenty of room from the car next to you, so quite a good size. And I suppose I'll run into the store, grab a couple of things, come back out, and then we'll wrap this one up. Perhaps the most valuable addition for the 2025 facelift of the G-Wagon is proxy key. For the first time ever on a G-Class, you can now walk up to it and not have to take your key out of your pocket. And beyond that, not only is it front, it's rear, obviously, as you guys just saw me demonstrate, but just one bag of groceries today, nothing crazy, just enough for us to have dinner tonight. So we'll set that in the back seat. We're not actually gonna go all the way into downtown today. We're going to cut it a bit short because I really have to get home tonight on a bit of a time crunch, but we'll still give you a sound system test of this Burmester as the 4-liter begins. Leaving from this spot is always a good turning circle test, which, to be honest, nice Boxster. Which, to be honest, in the G-Wagon is a bit shocking. It's like, I don't even think we're gonna... Oh, dear. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the turning circle is not very good. So, what I should have done was turned left and not done that, that whole maneuver there. So much. I'm always quite impressed with these Burmester systems in Mercedes, and what I love so much about them is the level of customization that they let you have, down to the personal sound profile that you're able to set for yourself, and you can turn that on and off very easily if someone else is driving the car and they don't want to listen to your settings. Easy to navigate stuff. You've got this physical volume knob down here that I've been using, because your other choice is this little haptic slider on the steering wheel, but I'm all about choices, and I like that there are two different ways to do that, one of them being a nice physical knob. So I guess that just about wraps it up. I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about this thing because there's so much going on, and this would be like an hour-long video if I showed you every single thing. I literally just noticed that there's a drive mode selector right here, which is very redundant in this because you just do it on the steering wheel. It does literally the exact same thing. But anyway, I think what I love so much about this G63 is that it doesn't feel new. And that's important because if you're gonna be continuing a legacy like the one that this G63 has and all of the G-Wagons, it has to be in line with that. It has to be legit. It has to be a real product, which, as the four-cylinder hybrid Toyota Land Cruiser drives by, this is just very true to its roots, and I respect that. And I love so much that Mercedes has kept this so unapologetically G-Wagon. Sure, it's a little bit more aerodynamic for 25, and they've put a silly little roof spoiler on it, and it's got the new steering wheel, and it's got a banging sound system, and it's got 627 pound-feet of torque, but at its core, it's still the same thing it was 50 years ago. I mean, how many vehicles can say that today? It's not very many, and as somebody that's been doing this job now for about 4 years, I've driven some vehicles now at this point. I love a car that still feels a bit old, and this feels very old, but still confident enough to drive normally. It's easy to drive, and with this performance pack, with that active roll stabilization, it makes so you can actually hustle this thing and have some fun. It's a little bit sketchy still, but that cuts down on a bit of the sketchiness, and for that being only like a $4,000 add-on or something, and this being an almost $200,000 starting price, why not have it? Why not add that to your spec sheet? So overall, I mean, I think at the end of the day, this is still a G-Wagon. Geez, I thought my turning circle was bad. That Chevy Trax just didn't make the turn. Oh my goodness. It's chaos in Ann Arbor. There aren't really a ton of SUVs on the market that I would go out and buy, and this one I wouldn't either because I can't afford it. But if I could afford it, I would. I would love to own this as much as I would like to own the Escalade V. It's SUVs like this that make you feel special, and I've said it a million times, but aren't super focused on lap times. They're just focused on making you smile and making a cool noise, and this one's heritage is so rich, and it burns deep into the soul of this car, and it does have a soul. It most certainly does. So let's find somewhere to park this up. We'll give you guys one last look at it, and that'll be it for the 25 G63. There we go. Call that parked. All right, guys. Well, I hope through this video that
you've forgotten your phone.
Count how many times she's interrupted me. I hope through this video that, from my perspective, has felt a bit all over the place. I hope you've been able to see a bit of what it's like to live with this new 2025 Mercedes-AMG G63, a vehicle that I love. I always love when we have G-Wagons. They're a lot of fun. They have a lot of character. They've got quite the road presence, and they're quite a unique experience. I mean, there's really nothing else you can get that feels quite like this. So that'll do it for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Let me know if I left anything out, if you have any questions. But again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.